Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of your OGR, as today is game 12 as the Edmonton Oilers went up against the Boston Bruins and pulled away with a huge W as we rally back in the third period, scoring 3 unanswered goals to pull away with a 5-3 victory over the Bruins, which, oh man, this game was intense, but it was really exciting to watch this game. It was a lot of fun to watch. But before we get into talking about this Oilers game, I'd like to just say, if you are new to the channel, make sure to slap that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. That'll be very much appreciated, boys. So let's get into talking about this game, because I am pretty hungry and I want to go get some, some cereal. I want to get some grub in me after watching this game, because I did lots of yelling. If you were watching me during my play-by-play, I did lots of yelling, because this game was exciting from like the start to finish. It was filled with very exciting action, a lot of funness between both of the teams, and it was a really good game. Keith and Ceci actually didn't play that bad. Yeah, one bad defensive mistake on the Brad Marchand goal, but honestly, they were fantastic. Ceci had one of his best games of the year. He was doing everything for the Edmonton Oilers, blocking shots, scoring goals, playing not that bad defensively either. And same with Keith. Keith, had one goal against on him, but honestly had a pretty good game on him as well. They produced a lot of offense throughout the game, so I think that was the biggest reason why they had, really good stats tonight, is because their expected goals for were so high, especially since CC had one goal and one assist on the night as well. But let's get into reviewing all the goals and everything like that. And first up is the first period. The first period had David Pastrnak score first for the Boston Bruins, which was a really unfortunate play. I think this was actually the Duncan Keith scramble play. Basically, Kyle Turris, I didn't receive the pass from Derek Ryan. Derek Ryan offered a horrible pass over to David Pastrnak. It was over to Kyle Turris, and the pass was so horrible it was falling right behind Kyle Turris, and so of course, then the Boston Bruins went on a transition game. Pastrnak got past Duncan Keith very easily and past CC, and David Pastrnak has a great shot, and he's not going to miss a shot like that when you have a breakaway opportunity like how Pastrnak did, and he put it right in the back of the net for the Boston Bruins, putting them up 1-0. But then Evan Bouchard, baby, gets a big goal for the Edmonton Oilers as he gets his second goal of the season with an absolute howitzer from the point. It was so beautiful. I was like screaming Bouchard in the stream, because it was exciting to see Bouchard get a very nice goal like how he did. It was a very nice shot from the point, a very nice pass from Draisaitl to see that Bouchard was trailing down from the point and that he was going to have a good opportunity to score a goal there, and it was a beautiful pass by Draisaitl to set up Bouchard to put up the Oilers, or I guess to tie up the game 1-1. It was a great goal, and Evan Bouchard as well had an amazing game throughout the night. I thought he played very well defensively. Not that just that, he also played very well offensively, knowing when to jump into the play, knowing, hey, I got to focus on Brad Marchand or David Pastrnak and play very well defensively against those guys. And he did. He did do very well defensively against a lot of those guys, and I was very impressed with how well he played throughout that game. And the first period, honestly, was really even between both of the teams. It was a really solid, even game for both of the teams. And, that was the thing. Like, it was very back and forth throughout this entire game, even heading into the second period. Like, the Bruins started off scoring in the period, and they did end that second period up with, a 3-2 lead. But honestly, it was a very even game. Even the Edmonton Oilers were looking fantastic after the Bruins scored. It looked like, it gave us a little bit of juice right after the Bruins did score that last goal. But we'll get into talking about it as Brad Marchand put up his 6th goal of the season. And this wouldn't have been able to happen if Hyman didn't, get tripped up by Patrice Bergeron. And these refs just keep being blind, like they can't see anything. But there were so many missed calls throughout the night where we should have actually had a few more power plays than what we did. We had one penalty that was a delay game, and then one actual minor penalty where Brad Marchand had a holding penalty on Leon Draisaitl or on Darnell Nurse in the third period. That was the only penalty. There was trip-in penalties on McDavid, but they didn't call anything. Like, there was an obvious trip where McDavid was trailing to the back of the net, and he got tripped up, and there was no call on the play. It is an absolute joke that we keep having to talk about this year in, year out, where I have to complain about the refs. And I don't like complaining about the refs. I really don't. But when The ref is clearly looking at the player, and you see him get tripped. Just because our power play is overpowered just does not mean that you can just take power plays away from us. That is a complete joke, and there should be a lot more penalties against McDavid or even some of the other Oilers players. It's kind of a joke, and definitely missed call here on Patrice Bergeron chipping up Zach Hyman as well, which, caused some space for Pasternak. It made some space for Pasternak to move on in and set up a pass to Brad Marchand, who is wide open in front of the net, to backhand it right in the back of the net there on Mikko Koskinen. So rough way to start out the second period, but then Zach Hyman, he came flying right back after that. He was pissed. He was full throttle pissed. He drove it right into the zone. McDavid, rode it up the boards, got it over to Hyman. Hyman just dangled, broke some ankles, and threw it right in the back of the net for the Edmonton Oilers to tie the game right back up at 2. And that's his 8th goal of the season. He was looking absolutely deadly out there. He came out in there with a full passion, wanting to score a goal without a doubt. And he certainly did. He certainly did score a goal for the Edmonton Oilers to tie this game up at 2, which was absolutely amazing to see. And then Brandon Carlo got a goal there for the Boston Bruins as he absolutely fired a howitzer from the point. And this was another weird play by Duncan Keith where, Duncan Keith keeps making bad defensive plays, and this was a bad read by Duncan Keith. I don't know what he was thinking, but he decided to block Mikko Koskinen's side of view from Carlo. So he was standing right in the view of Mikko Koskinen, and I was always told when I was younger, when I played defense, that if you're going to attempt to block a shot and block your goalie, you got to block it. No doubt about it. You got to block that shot. And if you don't, it's probably going to go in the back of the net. So if you're not going to block it, move out of the way. Don't just stand there like a complete buffoon. Move out of the way. And Keith didn't get that understanding. And he stood right in the, oh my God, I cannot find the word, but the eye line of Mikko Koskinen, and it went right in the back of the net. But then the third period came on in, and it seemed like the Edmonton Oilers had a firm grasp of this game, and we just dominated them in the third period. We played the better game than what the Boston Bruins gave us. Leon Draisaitl caused a little bit of a turnover. Brandon Carlo, I don't know what he was thinking, but he passed over to the other D-man and caused a turnover. And then Leon Draisaitl just absolutely shelved it in the back of the net to tie the game back up at 3. And then he scored once again, Leon Draisaitl, who was just absolutely insane in this line, as the Dynamite line is back and looking amazing. We'll get into that much later on, but Leon Draisaitl scored another goal with a beautiful pass by Cody Ceci to set him up on a beautiful chance to get his 12th goal of the season. And it was a beautiful goal to give us that game-winning goal, basically. And then Cody Ceci as well got a very nice goal as the third line, basically. It was Fogle, McLeod, and Scurvio worked really hard at the front of the net to get it loose. Sent it over to Cody Ceci, who absolutely just ripped a beautiful snipe there on Linus Ullmark to put it right in the back of the net and gave us that 5-3 lead. And that was the way that we ended the game. We played very well defensively. Also, once they pulled the goalie, I thought as well, we played just an overall a really solid game against a really good team in the Boston Bruins. Now we'll get down to dissecting every line and how every line kind of looked like. First up is our first line looked pretty well throughout the night. McDavid, Hyman, and Puljujärvi, they did generate a lot of offense throughout the game. They didn't, get a lot of big points. And this was, one game where also McDavid was kind of quiet, where he only had that one assist. But McDavid was still generating a lot of chances. He played a lot of ice time. But I think, the second line is something I really want to talk about, is the Dynamite line between Draisaitl, Nuge, and Yamamoto. And they were absolutely amazing. I know Yamamoto didn't get up on the stat sheet, but he played one of his best games once again this year. And same with Nuge. Nuge also played a really good game. And same with Draisaitl. Draisaitl was all over the place throughout the night, playing very well defensively, generating a lot of offense. He was one of our best players throughout the entire night with the expected goals percentage, and his analytics look absolutely amazing for this game. It really just shows how well Leon Draisaitl, when McDavid takes a little bit of a step back, we have Leon Draisaitl who can just step right on up and take control of this game, and he really did. He scored the 2 big goals for the Edmonton Oilers to give us that lead, to give us that, that big lead over the Boston Bruins, and Leon Draisaitl just keeps on stacking that point totals. 23 points. Actually, that's a little bit more now because he had 3 points, so 26 points in 12 games, ladies and gentlemen. That is absolutely bonkers how well Leon Draisaitl is doing this year to start it all off. He has just been an absolute all-star. Same with Connor McDavid as well. Connor McDavid also has been absolutely nutty to begin this season as well. But that Dynamite line looks absolutely amazing, and I hope we do keep it together. Then our third line was a weird combination. I don't know why we put this line even together, but it was Foegele, Ryan, and Turris. Now this line, all I have to say about it was that it was horrible. Straight up, it was horrible. There's nothing to talk about. I tweeted on Twitter on asking why Turris is even still in the NHL or even playing on the third line. He does not belong there. Colton Scurvio played a lot better when they threw Scurvio up with McLeod and Foegele, which I actually really enjoyed that line, and that line actually generated a goal. I'd rather see Foegele, McLeod, and Scurvio a lot more. Ryan, I like Derek Ryan. He does generate a lot of good stuff. He doesn't play that bad defensively, but he's not a third liner. We weren't able to find a third liner, and we still really don't got a third line. That line really did not look good throughout the entire night. Derek Ryan was kind of a little bit lost. He was one of the players I was really not liking throughout the game, and same with Turris. Perlini also didn't have a great night, and he hasn't really had any good nights throughout the NHL, and I don't know still why we have him up in the NHL when he doesn't produce any points, and he has not done anything for the team yet either. And then, McLeod, Scurvio, Foegele played pretty well throughout the night. Just Ryan, Turris, and Perlini were the guys who didn't play very well. So I'm hoping we continue to see Scurvio play up on the third line alongside of McLeod and Foegele, because I think that would be a really good line, and they played really well as well. And then fourth line, do whatever the hell you want to do. Play Derek Ryan there, but don't play Kyle Turris. He does not belong in the NHL, and he keeps proving that he does not belong in the NHL with how bad he plays. And then the defense, I have no complaints, but for Duncan Keith, blocking the eye line of Mikko Koskinen a few times, and honestly, they played really well. Ceci, like I said, played one of his better, his best games of the year this year. Nurse and Bouchard played very well as well. I really liked Bouchard's game throughout the night. I thought he played very well. But I think that's all I got to talk about. Also, Mikko Koskinen was once again really solid throughout the game. I know he let in a few, but in that third period, he stood tall. He made the 11 saves in that third period to shut down the Boston Bruins and pull away with the big victory. So another huge victory for the Edmonton Oilers. We improved to 10-2 on the season, still number 1 in the Pacific Division. So honestly, great start for the Edmonton Oilers in their first 12 games in the season, and we're at 10 wins already to begin the season. Just an absolutely amazing start, and I hope it's going to be more great things to come this year here, boys. But for now, guys, I'm going to end the episode here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the live OGR tonight, I guess. I'll see you guys there. Adios, amigos.